Story. Chapter 1. Shattered Trust. The scent of garlic and tomatoes wafted through the Peterson family kitchen as Liam Peterson stood at the doorway, his shoulders tense. At 36, the history teacher's usually patient demeanor had been replaced by something darker, a change that had been brewing for weeks. The kitchen, with its familiar cream tiles and well-worn counters, had always been a place of comfort. Tonight, it felt like an arena. Eleanor Peterson, his mother, gripped her wine glass with manicured fingers, her steel-gray hair perfectly coiffed despite the late hour. "Liam," she began, her voice carrying that particular tone he'd grown to despise. "Your wife's affair with your brother isn't worth destroying our family." The words hit him like physical blows, each one precise and calculated. Liam's fingers curled into fists at his sides, his knuckles white with tension. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too confined, as if the walls themselves were closing in on him. "Mother," he said, his voice low and controlled, "you don't get to decide what's worth destroying." A soft laugh, cruel and mocking, cut through the tension. Delilah emerged from the dining room, her heels clicking against the tile floor. At 34, she carried herself with the confidence of a woman who had always gotten her way. Her dark hair fell in perfect waves around her shoulders, and her brown eyes, once warm and inviting, now held nothing but contempt. "Oh, Liam," she purred, settling herself against the counter. "Always so dramatic. Your mother's right, you know. This little tantrum of yours needs to stop." Liam watched her, really watched her, seeing not the woman he'd fallen in love with, but the predator she'd always been. "Tantrum? Is that what you call finding out my wife and brother have been sleeping together? James satisfies me like you never could." Delilah's words dripped with venom, her lips curving into a cruel smile. "He's everything you're not. Ambitious, passionate, willing to take what he wants." Eleanor moved between them, her presence commanding attention. "This is exactly what I mean. We can work through this, Liam. Affairs happen in the best of families. There's no need to make it public. No need to shame us all." "Shame you?" Liam's laugh was harsh, unfamiliar even to his own ears. "You're worried about shame while my brother is fucking my wife? Watch your language." Eleanor snapped, her facade of calm cracking. "This isn't like you, Liam. Think of your children. Think of what this will do to them." At the mention of his children, something shifted in Liam's eyes. Ethan and Chloe, 8 and 6, were upstairs sleeping, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing below. His son, with his curious mind and gentle spirit, so much like Liam had been at that age. His daughter, with her mother's beauty but none of her cruelty, still innocent to the world's harsh realities. Delilah moved closer, her expensive perfume suffocating in the small space. "Be a good boy and listen to Mommy," she mocked, "or you'll never see your kids again." The threat hung in the air, heavy and poisonous. Liam's mind raced with memories, helping Ethan with his history homework, braiding Chloe's hair for school, weekend trips to the park. His children were his world, and these vipers thought they could take them away. "You really think you can threaten me with my own children?" His voice was quiet, dangerous. "You think I'll just roll over and let you destroy everything?" "Don't be naive," Eleanor interjected, reaching for the wine bottle. "Delilah is their mother. The courts always favor the mother. Be reasonable, Liam. We can keep this in the family, find a way to move forward." Liam watched as his mother poured more wine, her hands steady despite the tension in the room. She'd always been like this, controlling, manipulative, believing she could shape reality to her will. And Delilah, beautiful, cunning Delilah, had learned well from her mother-in-law. "Move forward." Liam's words were measured, careful. "Like nothing happened? Like my brother didn't betray me? Like my wife isn't threatening to take my children?" Delilah rolled her eyes, taking the glass Eleanor offered. "Don't be so melodramatic. James and I are in love. These things happen. We can be adults about this." The casual way she dismissed his pain, their history, everything they'd built together, something snapped inside Liam. Not visibly, no, he was too controlled for that. But deep inside, where he'd always kept his darker thoughts at bay, a plan began to form. He thought back to their college days, when he'd first met Delilah in his history class. She'd been struggling, more interested in parties than passing grades, and he'd offered to help. He remembered how she'd looked at him then, with calculated interest that he'd mistaken for genuine attraction. How many of her smiles had been real? How many of her I love yous had been lies? "You're right," he said finally, his voice steady. "We should be adults about this." Eleanor's shoulders relaxed slightly, and Delilah's smirk grew wider. They thought they'd won, thought they'd broken him into submission. They didn't notice the cold calculation in his eyes, the subtle tension in his jaw. "That's better," Eleanor said, satisfied. "I'll have my lawyer draw up some papers. We can arrange visitation, keep everything civil." "Civil," Liam repeated, the word tasting like ash in his mouth. "Like you've been civil? Like James has been civil?" "Oh, grow up," Delilah snapped, her patience wearing thin. "This isn't about you. This is about what's best for everyone. The children need stability, need their family intact." "Family," Liam said, watching them plot and scheme over their wine. "Is that what you call this?" They ignored him, already discussing arrangements, division of assets, how to minimize scandal. Eleanor was suggesting therapy, as if that could fix the betrayal that ran bone deep. Delilah was typing on her phone, probably texting James, sharing their victory. Liam stood there, letting their words wash over him, each one feeding the cold fury growing in his chest. They thought they knew him: quiet, reasonable Liam, always the peacekeeper, always putting others first. They thought they could manipulate him, control him, break him. They had no idea what they'd created. He watched them plan his future, their heads bent together over Eleanor's expensive marble countertop. His mother, who had always valued appearance over authenticity. His wife, who had taken his trust and twisted it into a weapon. They were so confident in their power over him, so sure of their victory. "I need some air," he said finally, his voice neutral. Neither woman looked up, too engrossed in their plotting. As he left the kitchen, their voices followed him, discussing custody arrangements, financial settlements, how to manage the family's reputation. They thought they were writing the end of his story. They didn't realize it was just the beginning. Chapter 2. The Quiet Execution. In his home office, away from the poisonous atmosphere of the kitchen, Liam Peterson's fingers flew across his laptop keyboard with decisive purpose. The sound of typing mixed with the distant murmur of Eleanor and Delilah's voices, still plotting downstairs. They thought they had one. They thought they knew him. They were wrong. His banking app opened with a soft chime. Joint accounts with Delilah, savings, checking, investment portfolios, displayed their balances. Years of careful saving, of living below their means while Delilah complained about their modest lifestyle. She'd always wanted more, demanded more. Now she would learn what it meant to have nothing. Liam created new accounts under Timothy Walsh's name, his oldest friend from college, now a successful attorney. Tim had helped him prepare for this moment, understanding the gravity of what was at stake. The transfers were quick, clinical. Numbers shifted, balances changed, and within minutes, the joint accounts were empty. "You won't use my own money against me," he muttered, closing the banking app. This wasn't theft. These were his earnings, his savings. He'd protected them from the woman who would have used them as weapons. The sound of laughter drifted up from below, Delilah's voice carrying through the house. "He's probably sulking in his office," she said. Her words slurred slightly from the wine. "You know how he gets when he doesn't get his way." More laughter, his mother's voice joining in. "He'll come around. He always does." Liam's jaw tightened as he reached into his desk drawer, pulling out a thick manila envelope. Inside were the custody papers Tim had prepared weeks ago. When Liam first noticed the lingering touches between Delilah and James, the secret smiles, the unexplained absences, he spread the papers across his desk, reading through them one final time. The documentation was thorough. Text messages he'd discovered between Delilah and James, credit card statements showing hotel charges, photographs taken by a private investigator. Evidence of their betrayal, carefully collected and preserved. "Daddy?" Liam looked up to find Chloe standing in the doorway, her stuffed rabbit clutched to her chest. At 6, she was a mirror image of Delilah's beauty, but with an innocence her mother had long since abandoned. "Hey, princess," he said softly, quickly gathering the papers. What are you doing up? I heard voices, she said, padding into the room on bare feet. Is Mommy angry again? The question twisted something in Liam's chest. How many nights had his children lain awake, listening to their mother's sharp words, her cutting remarks? No, sweetheart, he said, lifting her onto his lap. Everything's fine. But how about we have an adventure? Chloe's eyes lit up. Like in my stories? Just like that, Liam pressed a kiss to her forehead. Why don't you go pack your special backpack? The one we use for sleepovers at Uncle Tim's? As Chloe scampered off, excited by the prospect of an adventure, Liam moved to Ethan's room. His son was already awake, sitting cross-legged on his bed with a book. Dad. Ethan looked up, his expression serious beyond his 8 years. I heard Mom and Grandma talking. Liam sat on the edge of the bed, studying his son's face. How much did you hear? Enough, Ethan said quietly. They're being mean to you. Like the kids at school who pretend to be your friend but talk about you behind your back. The comparison struck Liam hard. His son understood betrayal already, understood the cruelty people could hide behind smiles. We're going on a trip, Liam said, keeping his voice steady. Pack your backpack. Clothes, your favorite books, anything important. Ethan nodded, already moving to his closet. He didn't ask questions, didn't protest. He trusted his father completely, a trust Liam would never betray. While the children packed, Liam moved through the house with quiet efficiency. He gathered important documents, birth certificates, social security cards, school records. Each item went into his own bag, along with a change of clothes and his laptop. In the kitchen, Eleanor and Delilah were still drinking, their voices growing louder with each glass of wine. They didn't notice him slip in, didn't see him leave the note on the counter. I'm taking our children where they'll be loved and safe. Simple words, but they carried the weight of his decision. No dramatics, no accusations. Just truth, cold and clean as a blade. The children were waiting in the hallway when he returned, their backpacks ready. Chloe clutched her rabbit, while Ethan held his favorite book of historical battles. They looked so small, so vulnerable, yet there was trust in their eyes when they looked at him. Ready for an adventure? He asked, taking their hands. They nodded, following him silently down the back stairs, away from the kitchen where their mother and grandmother plotted. The garage door opened silently. He'd oiled the hinges that afternoon, preparing for this moment. As they drove away from the house, Liam watched in the rearview mirror as his children settled into sleep. Chloe curled around her rabbit, while Ethan leaned against the window, his book clutched to his chest. The night stretched ahead of them, dark and uncertain. But for the first time in weeks, Liam felt in control. He had protected his children, secured their future. The money was safe, the evidence preserved, their escape planned to the last detail. Eleanor and Delilah thought they knew him, thought he was weak, easily manipulated. They saw his quiet nature as submission, his patience as weakness. They never understood that still waters run deep, that the most dangerous predators are the ones you never see coming. They would learn. Chapter 3. The Trap Sprung. The morning sun had barely risen when Liam's phone buzzed in the quiet cabin. He'd been awake for hours, watching his children sleep on the twin beds in the small bedroom. Ethan and Chloe looked peaceful, untroubled by the chaos their lives had become. The caller ID displayed Amelia's name, his sister, always trying to keep peace in their fractured family. He stepped onto the cabin's porch before answering. Liam? Amelia's voice cracked with emotion. Oh God, Liam, you need to come home. Mom had a stroke. She's in the hospital, begging to see her grandchildren before. Liam's grip tightened on the phone as he listened to his sister's tearful plea. He could picture Eleanor in a hospital bed, playing the role of the dying matriarch to perfection. She keeps asking for them. Liam, Amelia continued, her voice thick with tears. She says she needs to hold them one last time. Please, you can't be this cruel. Cruel? The word tasted bitter on his tongue. Like plotting to take my children wasn't cruel? Like helping my wife and brother destroy my family wasn't cruel? What? No, this isn't about that. Mom is dying, Liam. The doctors say. The doctors say what, Amelia? Liam's voice was quiet, controlled. What exactly did they say about this convenient stroke? There was a pause, a hesitation that told him everything he needed to know. I don't know the details, Amelia admitted. I just know what Mom told me. She's in so much pain, Liam. She keeps crying, saying she needs to make things right before it's too late. Liam thought about the night before, about Eleanor and Delilah plotting over wine, about their smug certainty that they could control him, manipulate him, break him to their will. Did she tell you about last night, Amelia? About how she sat in our kitchen, drinking wine with my wife, planning how to take my children from me? That's not. She wouldn't. But she did. Liam cut her off. Just like she's doing now, using you to play on my emotions. Tell me, does she look very sick in her hospital bed? Or is she just waiting for me to bring my children within reach? Liam, please. Amelia's voice dropped to a whisper. I know things are bad right now, but she's our mother. She loves you, loves the children. Whatever happened with Delilah and James? Don't. The word came out like a whip crack. Don't you dare try to minimize what they did. What they're still doing. Through the cabin's window, he could see Ethan stirring, reaching for the book he'd fallen asleep holding. His son, who understood betrayal too well for his age. I'll tell you what, Amelia, Liam said, his voice softening slightly. When Mom recovers from her miraculous stroke, and she will recover, won't she? Maybe we can talk about arranging a visit. In a few weeks, when things have settled. But she needs to see them now. She says she might not have weeks. Then she should have thought about that before she helped plan to take them from me. A sob caught in Amelia's throat. You're being so cold, Liam. This isn't you. No, Amelia. This is exactly who I am now. They made me this way. He paused, watching Chloe join her brother, both children quietly reading together. I have to go. The kids are waking up. Liam, wait. He ended the call, slipping the phone into his pocket. Through the window, he could see his children sharing Ethan's book, their heads bent together in concentration. They were safe here, away from the poison of manipulation and lies. Inside the cabin, Ethan looked up as Liam entered. Was that Aunt Amelia? Yes, Liam said, settling into a chair near them. She wanted to talk about Grandma. Is Grandma okay? Chloe asked, clutching her rabbit tighter. Liam studied his daughter's innocent face, seeing the genuine concern in her eyes. How could he explain that their grandmother was using their love as a weapon? Grandma is fine, he said firmly. She's just trying to get us to come back home. I don't want to go back, Ethan said quietly, his fingers tracing the book's spine. Mom was mean to you. And Uncle James. He trailed off, unable to finish the thought. Liam reached out, resting his hand on his son's shoulder. We're not going back. Not now, not ever. But what about my toys? Chloe's lower lip trembled. And my room? We'll get new toys, Liam promised. Better ones. And you can decorate your new room however you want. The children nodded, accepting his words with a trust that strengthened his resolve. They deserved better than what Delilah and Eleanor had planned for them. His phone buzzed again, a text from Tim. Money transfers complete. All accounts secured. D&E won't be able to touch anything. Liam deleted the message immediately. One more piece of his plan falling into place. The women who thought they could destroy him would soon learn the cost of their betrayal. In the distance, a car door slammed. Liam moved to the window, checking the perimeter he'd secured last night. Just a neighbor leaving for work, but the sound had his pulse quickening. Who wants breakfast? He asked, turning back to his children with a smile that hid his tension. As he prepared their meal, Liam's mind worked through the next steps of his plan. Eleanor's fake stroke would buy him time. They wouldn't expect him to run while they played their sympathy card. By the time they realized their manipulation had failed, he and the children would be beyond their reach. His phone buzzed one final time. Amelia again. He declined the call without hesitation. She was just another piece in their game, whether she realized it or not. He couldn't trust anyone from his old life now, not even his sister. Dad. Ethan's voice pulled him from his thoughts. Are we in trouble? Liam turned to his son, seeing the worry in his young face. No, buddy. We're not in trouble. We're just starting over. Sometimes that's the bravest thing you can do. As he served their breakfast, Liam felt a cold certainty settle over him. Eleanor, Delilah, James, they thought they knew him. Thought they could control him. They saw his quiet nature as weakness, his love for his children as a chain they could use to bind him. They were wrong. They would learn that the man they thought they could break was gone. In his place stood someone harder, someone willing to match their cruelty with his own brand of justice. Someone who would protect his children at any cost. Let them play their games with fake illnesses and emotional manipulation. He was playing a longer game, one they wouldn't see until it was too late. The morning sun filtered through the cabin windows, painting patterns on the wooden floor. His children ate their breakfast, talking softly about the adventures they might have in their new life. They were resilient, adaptable. They would survive this change, grow stronger from it. And so would he. Their old life was over. The history teacher who believed in forgiveness, who always sought peace, who tried to see the best in everyone, that man died the moment he discovered his wife's betrayal. In his place stood someone stronger, someone ruthless enough to protect what mattered most. Let them scheme and plot in their comfortable kitchen. Let them think their manipulations would bring him crawling back. They would learn, too late, that they had created their own destruction. The game was just beginning. Chapter 4. The Silent War. 6 months had passed since the night Liam Peterson disappeared with his children. In their new town, miles from the chaos they'd left behind, he'd built a careful routine. Their modest house, tucked away in a quiet neighborhood, became a fortress of normalcy for 8-year-old Ethan and 6-year-old Chloe. Liam sat at his desk, grading papers online while monitoring his other screen. The local news website from their old town displayed Delilah's latest real estate listing, a luxury home that had been on the market for months. The comments section buzzed with whispers and innuendos, each one a carefully planted seed. "Isn't this the realtor involved in that scandal?" one commenter wrote. "I wouldn't trust her with my property," another chimed in. "Heard she sleeps with her clients' husbands." Liam's anonymous accounts had started the rumors weeks ago. Now they spread on their own, a virus he'd released into the community. He checked his tracking metrics. Delilah's real estate website traffic had dropped 60% in the past month. His phone buzzed with a text from his private investigator. D spotted leaving James's apartment at 3 a.m. Photos uploaded to secure server. Signs of argument visible. A thin smile crossed Liam's face as he opened his laptop's encrypted folder. Inside, organized with a historian's precision, lay the evidence of their destruction. Photos, videos, financial records, text messages, ammunition for his war. "Dad," Ethan's voice pulled him from his work. "Can you help me with my history project?" Liam closed the screens, turning to his son with genuine warmth. "Of course, buddy. What are we working on?" "Ancient Rome," Ethan said, spreading his books across the desk. "We're learning about Julius Caesar and how he was betrayed by people he trusted." The irony wasn't lost on Liam. Sometimes the people closest to us can be our greatest enemies. "Is that why we left Mom?" Ethan asked quietly. "Because she betrayed you?" Liam studied his son's face, seeing understanding beyond his years. "Yes, but that doesn't mean we let it break us. We get stronger." In the kitchen, Chloe hummed while coloring, her dark curls, so like Delilah's, falling over her paper. She'd stopped asking about her mother weeks ago, accepting their new life with a child's resilience. Liam's phone buzzed again. A news alert from their old town. Local bank reviews internal practices after employee misconduct allegations. James. His brother's career was crumbling, piece by piece. Anonymous tips about unauthorized account access, whispers of impropriety with clients, suggestions of financial mismanagement. None of it could be traced back to Liam, but each rumor struck true. He opened his secure email, checking the latest updates from his network of informants. Delilah had missed 3 mortgage payments. James had been passed over for promotion. Their affair, once hidden behind closed doors, now played out in public view, tainted by scandal and suspicion. "Dad." Chloe appeared at his elbow, holding up her drawing. "Look what I made." The picture showed 3 figures, Liam, Ethan, and Chloe, standing together under a bright sun. No mother, no grandmother, no uncle, just their new family, whole and complete. "It's beautiful, Princess," Liam said. pinning it to his bulletin board. Just like our new life. Later that night, after the children were asleep, Liam returned to his war room. His laptop glowed with updates from various social media platforms where his carefully crafted posts continued their work. A local business group had removed Delilah from their board. A charity organization had quietly asked James to step down. Their reputations, once golden in their small community, now carried the stain of scandal. He opened a new document, adding to his strategic plan. Eleanor would be next. His mother's social standing, her carefully maintained image of respectability, would crumble just as thoroughly as her co-conspirators. A notification popped up. Someone had posted old photos of James and Delilah at a hotel, months before their affair became public. The timestamp proved their deception. The comments exploded with condemnation. Liam leaned back, satisfaction coursing through him. He didn't need violence or confrontation. Information was his weapon, reputation his battlefield. Let them search for him, plot their counterattacks. They'd never suspect the quiet history teacher of orchestrating their downfall. His phone rang, a blocked number. He let it go to voicemail, then played the message. "Liam, please." Delilah's voice cracked with desperation. "The kids, they need their mother. Whatever you think I did." He deleted the message before it finished. Let her beg. Let her suffer. She'd chosen her path when she betrayed him, when she threatened to take his children. Another email arrived from his investigator. He spotted meeting with lawyers. Financial records suggest significant withdrawals. Eleanor was making moves, probably planning some legal strategy. But Liam had anticipated this. The money she thought she could use against him was already gone, transferred and hidden through channels she'd never trace. He picked up Chloe's drawing again, studying the happy faces she'd drawn. His children were safe, thriving in their new life. No price was too high to protect them, no revenge too complete to ensure their security. The war would continue, quiet and devastating, until nothing remained of the lives his betrayers had built. He would watch them tear each other apart, desperate and bitter, never knowing the architect of their destruction sat safely away, methodically dismantling their world. Liam powered down his computer, checking the security cameras he'd installed around their new home. Everything secure, everyone safe. In his children's rooms, peaceful breathing testified to untroubled sleep. This was what mattered. Not the money, not the revenge, but the safety and happiness of his children. The rest was just justice, cold and precise, served one calculated blow at a time. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities for destruction, new ways to tighten the noose around his enemies' necks. But for now, in the quiet of their secure home, Liam allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. They had thought him weak, easily controlled. They had mistaken his quiet nature for submission, his patience for weakness. Now they would learn, too late, the cost of their arrogance. The war continued, silent but devastating, and Liam Peterson was winning. Chapter 5. The Unforeseen Ally. The knock on Liam's door came at precisely 2:17 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. He checked the security camera feed on his phone. Amelia stood on his porch, her hospital scrubs partially hidden under a rain-spotted jacket, her face drawn with exhaustion and something darker. "I sweep for bugs twice a day," she said as soon as he opened the door. "Changed my phone 3 times. No one followed me." Her voice cracked. "They don't know I'm here." Liam studied his sister's face, looking for signs of deception. Amelia had always been the family peacekeeper, the one who tried to smooth things over, make excuses for their mother's manipulation. But now, "Come in," he said, stepping aside. "The kids are at school." Amelia's hands shook as she pulled a thick manila folder from her bag. "I had to see for myself, Liam. I had to know if you were right." She sank onto his couch, the folder clutched to her chest like a shield. "Mom, she's not sick. Never was. I checked the hospital records myself. No stroke. No emergency room visits. Nothing." "I know," Liam said quietly, watching her face crumple. "No, you don't understand." Amelia's voice rose. "It's worse than that. I found this in her study." She thrust the folder at him. "She and Delilah. They've been planning this for months. Before you even knew about the affair." Liam opened the folder, his face hardening as he read. Documents, emails, detailed plans, all focused on one goal, using his children as weapons against him. They were going to claim you were unstable. Amelia continued, her words tumbling out. Get you committed. Take the kids. They had it all planned. Fake witnesses, doctored records, everything. They were going to destroy you, Liam. He closed the folder, his movements controlled despite the rage building inside him. Why are you showing me this? Amelia looked up, tears streaming down her face. Because I helped them. At first, when Mom said you were having a breakdown, that we needed to protect the kids, I believed her. I'm a nurse, Liam. My testimony about your mental state would have carried weight. And now I know the truth. I overheard them, Mom and Delilah. They were laughing about it, about how easy it was to manipulate me, to use my concern against you. Her hands clenched into fists. They called me their useful idiot. Liam sat across from her, studying the sister he'd grown up with, the one who'd always tried to keep peace in their fractured family. What do you want, Amelia? I want to help you destroy them. The words hung in the air between them. Liam waited, silent, letting her continue. I have access to everything. Mom's house, her accounts, her social circle. I know their routines, their secrets, their plans. Amelia leaned forward. Let me be your eyes and ears, Liam. Let me help you protect those kids. Why should I trust you? Because they betrayed me too. Amelia's voice hardened. All my life, I've tried to keep this family together. Made excuses for Mom's behavior, smoothed things over when she went too far. I thought I was helping, but I was just enabling her poison to spread. Liam considered her words, weighing risks against potential benefits. Amelia in their corner could be invaluable, or catastrophic if she was playing both sides. I need proof, he said finally, not just documents. Show me you're committed to this. Amelia pulled out her phone, playing a recording. Eleanor's voice filled the room, discussing their plans to have Liam committed. Delilah's laughter as they plotted to use his children against him. I have more, Amelia said, stopping the playback. Hours of recordings, photos, documents. And I know how to get more. They'll notice if things go missing. No, they won't. A cold smile crossed Amelia's face. They don't even see me anymore. I'm just the faithful daughter, the reliable nurse, always in the background. They talk freely around me, never thinking I might have my own mind, my own loyalty. Liam stood, pacing the room as he thought. It's dangerous. If they catch you, they won't. I've learned from you, brother. Watching how you've orchestrated their downfall. It's been magnificent. Let me help you finish it. He turned to her. Why? Really? Because they were going to sacrifice your children's happiness for their own agenda. Because they used my profession, my reputation, to try to destroy you. Amelia's voice shook with rage. Because our mother raised us to believe family meant everything, then threw it away for power and control. Liam walked to his desk, pulling up the secure server where he stored his evidence. If we do this, there's no going back. No reconciliation, no forgiveness. There already isn't, Amelia said firmly. They made sure of that the moment they planned to use your children as pawns. He showed her his files, the careful documentation of their destruction, the strategic demolition of their reputations and lives. Beautiful, Amelia breathed, studying his work. But I can help you make it perfect. Mom's trying to move money offshore. I can track it, redirect it. Delilah's looking for private investigators to find you. I can feed them false leads. And James, our dear brother, is cracking under pressure. Fighting with Delilah, drinking too much. One push in the right direction. Liam nodded slowly. We do this my way. Controlled, precise. No room for emotions or mistakes. Agreed. Amelia's face hardened with resolve. They wanted war. Let's give them one they'll never forget. They spent hours planning, Amelia's inside knowledge filling gaps in Liam's strategy. When she left, she carried a secure phone and detailed instructions. Liam watched her drive away, considering the implications of this new alliance. His quiet war had just gained a powerful weapon, if he could trust her. That night, he added new security measures, new contingency plans. Trust, but verify. Always. His phone buzzed with a message from Amelia's secure line. Meeting set for Thursday. We'll have complete access to financial records. The war was entering a new phase. With Amelia's help, their destruction would be complete. Let them think they still had allies. Let them believe they were safe in their schemes. The truth would destroy them all. Chapter 6. The Gathering Storm. The tension in Eleanor Peterson's living room crackled with unspoken threats and barely contained rage. Delilah paced across the expensive Persian rug, her designer heels stabbing the fabric with each step. Her once perfect makeup couldn't hide the strain of the past months, the cracks in her carefully maintained facade. 2 more clients canceled today, she spat, waving her phone like a weapon. Do you know what they said? That they'd heard things about my personal situation and didn't feel comfortable working with me. Eleanor sat in her favorite armchair, watching her daughter-in-law's meltdown with growing irritation. The glass of scotch in her hand, her third of the afternoon, trembled slightly. Sit down, she commanded. Your hysteria isn't helping anything. Hysteria? Delilah whirled to face her. My business is dying. Your precious son James is about to lose his job. And Liam. She choked on the name. Liam is out there somewhere with my children, and you want me to be calm? They're my grandchildren. Eleanor's voice cut like ice. Don't think you're the only one suffering here. James slouched on the sofa, his once crisp banker's suit wrinkled, his tie loose around his neck. The board called me in today. Concerns about ethical conduct, they said. Like they've never heard of office romance before. Office romance? Delilah's laugh was brittle. Is that what you're calling it now? Not how you destroyed your brother's marriage. You were just as involved, James shot back, his face flushing with anger. Don't play innocent now that everything's falling apart. Eleanor slammed her glass down. Enough. This infighting is exactly what Liam wants. He's out there, watching us tear ourselves apart. How do you know? Delilah demanded. The private investigators can't find a trace of him. It's like he vanished into thin air with my children. Our children, James corrected automatically, earning a venomous glare from Delilah. Our children? She rounded on him. Where were you when Ethan had chickenpox? When Chloe needed stitches after falling off her bike? Playing the devoted uncle while trying to get into my bed? You weren't exactly resisting, James snarled, standing up. All those late-night showings, those business dinners. You wanted it just as much as I did. Stop it, both of you. Eleanor rose, swaying slightly. This isn't helping us find them. Find them? Delilah laughed bitterly. We can't even find ourselves anymore. My reputation is ruined. James is about to be fired, and you? She gestured at Eleanor's drink. You're drowning in expensive scotch while your empire crumbles. Eleanor's hand twitched, wanting to strike but maintaining control. Watch yourself, dear. Remember who holds the purse strings in this family. What purse strings? James interjected with a harsh laugh. Have you checked your accounts lately, Mother? Your investments are tanking. The society pages are calling you the mother of the year's biggest scandal. This is temporary, Eleanor insisted, gripping her glass tighter. Once we find Liam and the children. And then what? Delilah interrupted. Force him back? He took everything, Eleanor. The money, the kids, our reputation. He's destroying us piece by piece, and we can't even prove it's him. It's him, Eleanor said with cold certainty. You think these anonymous posts about your affair are coincidence? The sudden scrutiny of James's accounts? The whispers in my social circle? Then why can't we stop it? James demanded, running his hands through his disheveled hair. We've hired the best PR firms, the most expensive lawyers. Who keep quitting, Delilah cut in. 3 firms in 2 months. They all say the same thing. The evidence against us is too solid, too widespread to fight. Eleanor moved to her desk, pulling out a thick file. Because we've been playing defense. It's time to change tactics. What do you mean? Delilah asked, moving closer. Liam thinks he's so clever, hiding behind anonymity and legal loopholes. Eleanor's lips curved in a cold smile. But everyone has weaknesses. Everyone can be broken. James straightened, interest flickering in his bloodshot eyes. You have a plan? I always have a plan. Eleanor spread several documents across her desk. We need to stop trying to find him directly. Instead, we follow the money. We've tried that, Delilah protested. He covered his tracks too well. Because we were looking in the wrong places. Eleanor pointed to a series of bank statements. These transfers, they're too clean, too professional. Someone helped him. Someone who knows banking. Timothy Walsh, James said suddenly. His college friend. The lawyer. The same Timothy Walsh who's been suspiciously successful lately? Eleanor's smile grew sharper. Who just happened to open a new practice right when Liam disappeared? Delilah leaned forward, studying the documents. You think he's helping hide the money? I think he's the key to everything. Eleanor pulled out another file. And I think it's time we reminded Mr. Walsh that helping hide children from their mother is a serious crime. He's a lawyer, James objected, pacing now. He'll have protected himself. Everyone has secrets, Eleanor said softly. Everyone has something to hide. We just need to find Timothy Walsh's weakness. And then what? Delilah asked, a hint of her old ruthlessness returning. Then we squeeze until he breaks. Eleanor closed the file with finality. Until he tells us where my son and grandchildren are hiding. James rubbed his jaw, thinking. What about Amelia? She's been acting strange lately. Your sister is a useful fool, Eleanor dismissed. Too soft-hearted for her own good. Let her keep playing nurse while we handle the real work. We need to move fast, Delilah said, checking her phone. Another client just canceled. At this rate, I'll be bankrupt within months. We all will, James added grimly. The bank's internal investigation is wrapping up. They're just looking for an excuse to fire me. Eleanor stood, moving to refill her glass. Then we don't give them time to finish us off. We find Walsh's weakness, we exploit it, and we get back what's ours. And Liam? Delilah asked quietly. When we find him, Eleanor's voice was ice. He'll learn what it really means to lose everything. The room fell silent as they absorbed the implications. Their comfortable lives were crumbling, their reputations in tatters. Somewhere out there, Liam was orchestrating their destruction with cold precision. But now they had a target, a weak point in his armor. Timothy Walsh had no idea what was coming for him. As night fell, they continued plotting, their voices growing more animated as desperation fueled their plans. None of them noticed Amelia passing quietly by the study door, her phone recording every word. None of them saw her slip away into the darkness, a cold smile playing on her lips as she typed a message to her brother. They took the bait. Operation Timothy Walsh is a go. The storm was gathering strength, but not in the way Eleanor, Delilah, and James imagined. Their newfound hope would soon become another weapon in Liam's arsenal. The war continued, and the next phase was about to begin. Chapter 7. The Unmasking. The laptop screen illuminated Liam's face as he reviewed the files one final time. Months of careful planning, of gathering evidence and building his case, had led to this moment. Behind him, Amelia paced the room, her nurse's shoes silent on the carpet. Are you sure about this? She asked, pausing to look over his shoulder. Once we release everything, they deserve what's coming, Liam said, his voice cold. Look at this. He pulled up a series of emails between Delilah and James, dating back months before their affair became public. The messages detailed not just their relationship, but their manipulation of clients, their financial schemes, their plots against him. There's more, Amelia said, pulling out her phone. I recorded Mom yesterday, planning how to manufacture evidence against you. Listen. Eleanor's voice filled the room. We'll say he was violent, unstable. I know a doctor who'll backdate some prescriptions. Once we prove he's unfit. Liam's jaw tightened as he listened. Add it to the file. Let everyone see exactly who they are. His finger hovered over the enter key. One press and everything would go public, their affair, their schemes, their lies. Years of careful image management would crumble in minutes. Do it, Amelia whispered. The key clicked softly. Within seconds, the carefully compiled evidence began spreading across multiple platforms. Social media, news websites, professional forums. Nowhere would be safe from the truth. Across town, Delilah's phone buzzed with notifications. She sat in her empty real estate office, staring at her computer screen in horror as post after post appeared. "No," she whispered, scrolling through the evidence. "No, no, no." Her phone rang, James calling. She ignored it, too focused on the destruction unfolding before her. Photos of their secret meetings, screenshots of their messages, records of their financial dealings, all laid bare for the world to see. At the bank, James watched his colleagues huddle around their computers, whispering and glancing his way. The internal email arrived moments later. Immediate suspension pending investigation. Eleanor's social circle exploded with the news. Her phone lit up with messages from friends distancing themselves, canceling arrangements, expressing their shock and disappointment. Mrs. Peterson, her housekeeper, appeared at the study door. Channel 5 News is outside. They're asking for comment about the allegations. The local news picked up the story within hours. Prominent realtor and banker siblings implicated in scandal ran across the bottom of screens. Delilah's face, then James's, then Eleanor's, all splashed across the media. This is Angela Chun reporting live from outside the offices of Delilah Peterson Realty, where shocking allegations have emerged. In his home office, Liam watched the coverage spread. Amelia had returned to their mother's house, playing her role as the concerned daughter while feeding him updates. "Mom's having a meltdown," she texted. Delilah just arrived. They're both screaming about damage control. His phone buzzed with a call from Delilah. He let it ring, instead opening his email to find desperate messages from her, from James, from Eleanor, all begging for a chance to explain, to make things right. He deleted them without reading. The evidence was overwhelming, carefully selected, and presented to cause maximum damage. Financial regulators began investigating James's banking practices. Real estate boards launched ethics inquiries into Delilah's dealings. Eleanor's charitable foundation board called an emergency meeting. By nightfall, their world was in flames. Delilah stood in Eleanor's study, her makeup streaked with tears. How did he get all this? How did he know? "It doesn't matter how," Eleanor snapped, pouring another drink. "We need to fight back. Deny everything." "Deny?" James laughed bitterly from his corner. "Have you seen what's out there? Our own words, our own actions. Then we spin it," Eleanor insisted. "Paint him as the villain. A jealous husband, an unstable father." "It won't work," Amelia said quietly from the doorway. "The evidence is too clear." They turned to her, desperation in their eyes. None of them noticed her phone, silently recording their reactions, their admissions, their plans for more lies. "We have to try something." Delilah's voice rose hysterically. "My business is ruined. My reputation." "Your reputation?" James pushed away from the wall. "What about my career? The bank's already suspended me. There's talk of criminal investigations. Both of you, shut up." Eleanor slammed her glass down. "This isn't over. Liam thinks he's won, but we still have cards to play." "What cards?" Delilah demanded. "He has everything. Our emails, our phone records, our financial documents. We have the truth about his kidnapping the children," Eleanor said triumphantly. "Once we go public with that." "You mean the truth about how you planned to fake medical evidence to steal his kids?" Amelia's voice cut through the room like a blade. They stared at her, sudden suspicion dawning in their eyes. "What do you mean?" Eleanor asked slowly, but Amelia was already sending the recording of their conversation to Liam. Let them suspect. It was too late to stop what was coming. Across town, Liam added the new recording to his evidence file. Phase 1 was complete, their public destruction. Now for Phase 2. He opened a new email, attaching selected documents. The recipients included the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, the State Banking Board, and the District Attorney's Office. "Time to make it official," he murmured, pressing send. The war wasn't over, but the first major battle was won. Their reputations lay in ruins, their carefully constructed facades shattered. Now the legal consequences would begin. Let them try to fight back. Let them scheme and plot. He had more ammunition ready, more evidence to release. Years of their corruption, their manipulations, their crimes, all documented and ready to destroy them completely. He checked the social media feeds again. Hashtag Peterson scandal was trending. Their names were becoming synonymous with betrayal, corruption, moral bankruptcy. His phone buzzed with another update from Amelia. They're starting to turn on each other. Jay just accused Dee of seducing him to access his banking clients. Dee claims he manipulated them both. E's threatening to disown everyone. Perfect. Let them destroy each other. Their bonds, built on lies and manipulation, would become weapons in their own destruction. The children were asleep upstairs, safe and peaceful, unaware of the chaos their mother and grandmother had brought upon themselves. They were all that mattered. Everything else, the revenge, the destruction, the justice, was just a means to ensure their security. Liam closed his laptop, the first phase of his endgame complete. In the morning, federal agents would begin their investigations. Bank auditors would uncover James's financial misdeeds. Real estate investigators would expose Delilah's fraudulent practices. Eleanor's attempts at damage control would only dig their graves deeper. She didn't realize that Amelia recorded her attempts to manufacture evidence, her plans to bribe officials, her schemes to hide assets. The monster they'd created was systematically destroying them, using their own words and actions as weapons. They would learn, too late, the price of betraying Liam Peterson. The war wasn't over, but the end was in sight. And when the dust settled, nothing would remain of their carefully constructed lives except ruins and regret. Chapter 8. The Final Gambit. Eleanor Peterson's hands trembled as she signed the papers transferring her remaining assets to Global Investment Holdings. Across the desk, a man in an expensive suit smiled professionally. "You've made a wise decision, Mrs. Peterson," he said, gathering the documents. "Your funds will be completely secure and out of reach of any legal complications." "When can I access the money?" she asked, glancing at her depleted bank statements. "Once you arrive in the Cayman Islands, everything will be arranged." He handed her a folder. "Your flight leaves tomorrow night. The account details are inside." After he left, Eleanor sank into her chair, allowing herself a moment of triumph. Liam might have destroyed their reputations, but she'd salvaged enough money to start over. Let him try to trace funds through an offshore company. Her phone buzzed, Delilah calling. She ignored it. Her former daughter-in-law had become a liability, her public meltdowns drawing more negative attention daily. "Mom?" Amelia appeared in the doorway. "Are you okay?" "I saw a man leaving." "Just handling some business," Eleanor said smoothly. "Nothing for you to worry about." Amelia nodded, the perfect picture of daughterly concern. As soon as she left, she sent a text to Liam. She took the bait. Transfer complete. In his secure office, Liam allowed himself a cold smile. The fake investment company had been Amelia's idea, a perfect trap for their money-obsessed mother. "How much?" he texted back. "Everything. She's planning to flee to the Caymans tomorrow night." Liam opened his laptop, checking the transfer records. Eleanor had fallen for it completely, signing over her entire fortune to a shell company he controlled. His phone rang, James calling. Another desperate attempt at reconciliation, probably. His brother had been spiraling since the bank's investigation began, alternating between threats and pleas for help. A news alert popped up on his screen. Local realtor Delilah Peterson faces multiple fraud charges. The article detailed her mishandling of client funds, her manipulation of property values, her undisclosed conflicts of interest. His private investigator's report arrived next. Photos of James leaving a known drug dealer's house, clearly intoxicated. Perfect timing. "Send them to the bank's investigators," he instructed. "And the police." Everything was falling into place. Eleanor would arrive at the airport tomorrow to find federal agents waiting. Her attempted flight would be the final proof of guilt they needed. Delilah's fraud charges would guarantee she never worked in real estate again. James's drug problems would complete his professional destruction. But first, he dialed Tim Walsh's number. His old friend had played his part perfectly, helping set up the fake investment firm. "Everything's ready," Tim confirmed. "The documents prove money laundering, tax evasion, and attempted flight from prosecution. The FBI is very interested." "Send it all to them," Liam instructed. "Every detail." He pulled up the security cameras he'd had installed in his old house. Eleanor was in her study, probably planning her escape. She had no idea she just signed over her entire fortune to her son. Poetic justice. His phone buzzed again. Amelia, Dee just arrived. They're fighting about money. Recording everything. Perfect. Let them implicate themselves further. Through the cameras, he watched Delilah storm into Eleanor's study. They're freezing my accounts, she screamed. All of them. The DA's office is talking about criminal charges. Lower your voice, Eleanor snapped. The walls have ears. If she only knew. I don't care. Delilah was hysterical now. I'm going to lose everything. My house, my business, my freedom. You still have your looks, Eleanor said coldly. Find another rich man to manipulate. Like you manipulated Dad? Delilah shot back. I learned from the best, didn't I? James appeared in the doorway, swaying slightly. Both of you, shut up. The bank's bringing in forensic accountants. They're going to find everything. Then we all go down together, Delilah snarled. Every dirty deal, every fraud, every scheme. No one's going down. Eleanor stood, her voice steady. I have a plan. Tomorrow night. Mrs. Peterson? A new voice interrupted, federal agents at the door. We have a warrant to search these premises. Liam watched through the cameras as their world imploded. Agents swarmed the house, confiscating computers, documents, phones. Eleanor's escape money, safely in his control, would fund his children's future instead of her luxury exile. Amelia played her part beautifully, the shocked daughter watching her family's disgrace. Only Liam knew she provided half the evidence that brought the federal agents there. His phone buzzed one final time. A message from his lawyer. Everything's in place. They'll all be arrested within the hour. Justice, cold and complete. Let them face the consequences of their actions, their betrayals, their crimes. In their greed and arrogance, they'd never suspected the quiet history teacher could orchestrate their total destruction. They'd thought him weak, pliable, easily controlled. They'd created their own destroyer. Now they would pay, not just with their reputations and freedom, but with the full weight of the law. Every scheme, every fraud, every manipulation exposed and punished. The monster they'd made would show no mercy. Chapter 9. The Dawn of Peace. 5 years passed like water under a bridge. Liam Peterson stood in his garden, watching Ethan and Chloe play basketball in the driveway of their new home. At 13 and 11, they were thriving, their past trauma healed by time and love. The morning newspaper lay on his patio table, the headlines bringing a grim satisfaction. Former banking executive James Peterson denied parole. Delilah Peterson's appeal rejected. Eleanor Peterson's assets permanently forfeited. Justice had been thorough. James received 15 years for financial crimes and drug charges. Delilah got 12 for fraud and embezzlement. Eleanor, the mastermind, earned 20 for money laundering and conspiracy. Their empire had crumbled to dust. Dad, Chloe called out. Watch this shot. He turned, smiling as she sank a perfect basket. She had her mother's grace, but none of her malice. Ethan cheered his sister's success, his honest joy so different from his uncle's manipulative charm. Uncle Tim's coming for dinner, he reminded them. And Aunt Amelia. Tim Walsh had become a true uncle to them, while Amelia proved herself a better sister than he'd ever imagined. They were the family he chose, bound by loyalty instead of blood. His phone buzzed. A message from the prison liaison. Dee requesting another visit with the children. Delete. They hadn't seen their mother since the trial. Her monthly letters went unopened, her appeals for contact unanswered. Some bridges stayed burned. 5 minutes until dinner, he called to the kids. They raced inside, their laughter filling the house. Later that night, after the children were asleep, he sat with Amelia on the patio. Mom asked about you again, she said quietly. Through her prison counselor. And I told them the same thing. No contact, no exceptions. He nodded, satisfied. Eleanor's attempts at reconciliation meant nothing. She'd shown her true nature, plotted to destroy him, tried to steal his children. No prison redemption could erase that. The kids are happy, Amelia observed. Healthy. You did the right thing. They're safe, he corrected. That's what matters. Safety bought with ruthless justice, paid for with the complete destruction of those who'd betrayed them. The quiet history teacher had become a force of vengeance, protecting his children with unwavering resolve. The past was ashes, but from them, he'd built something stronger. A life without manipulation, without lies, without the poison of false family loyalty. Let the traitors rot in their cells, remembering how completely he destroyed them. Let them understand, in their endless prison days, the price of betraying Liam Peterson. He was no longer the man they'd thought they could break. That man died the night they revealed their true selves. In his place stood someone stronger, someone who'd learned that true justice comes not from forgiveness, but from making sure your enemies can never hurt you again. The monster they'd created had devoured them whole, and he didn't regret it for a second. Epilogue, 10 years after the fall. Liam Peterson sat in his office at Riverside University, grading final papers from his modern history class. At 46, his dark hair had touches of gray at the temples, but his eyes remained sharp, his demeanor composed. The distinguished professor's nameplate on his desk reflected his rise from high school teacher to respected academic. Life had changed dramatically in the decades since he'd orchestrated his family's destruction. A knock on his door interrupted his work. "Come in," he called, looking up to see his son Ethan, now 18, entering with a stack of college brochures. "Dad, Yale's history program looks amazing," Ethan said, dropping into a chair. His father's features had matured in him, but without the hardness life had carved into Liam's face. "But Stanford's offering that full scholarship." Liam set aside his grading. "Money isn't an issue, son. Your grandmother's investment is still funding your education." The irony brought a cold smile to his face. Eleanor's attempted escape money now paying for her grandchildren's future. "I know, but—" Ethan hesitated. "I got another letter from Mom yesterday." Liam's expression didn't change. "What did you do with it?" "Same as always. Returned unopened." Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "She's been out of prison for 6 months now. The letters come every week. And they'll keep coming back unopened," Liam said firmly. "She made her choice 10 years ago. Delilah had served 8 years of her 12-year sentence, released early for good behavior. She'd moved to Arizona after her release, attempting to rebuild her life. Her real estate license was permanently revoked, her reputation destroyed. Last Liam heard, she was working as a waitress, her former glamorous life nothing but memory. Chloe got one too," Ethan added. "She threw it in the recycling without even looking at it. At 16, Chloe had grown into a striking young woman, but her beauty was tempered by a wisdom beyond her years. She excelled in sports and academics, recently winning a regional tennis championship. The darkness of their past had only made her stronger. How's the college application coming?" Liam changed the subject, knowing his son would appreciate the shift. "Almost done. Uncle Tim's helping me with the essays." Timothy Walsh had remained a constant in their lives, more family than Liam's blood relatives ever were. His law practice had flourished, and he'd married 5 years ago. His daughters, ages 3 and 1, adored their cousins Ethan and Chloe. "Dad," Ethan's voice grew serious. "I saw Uncle James on the news yesterday." Liam's jaw tightened. James remained in prison, serving his 15-year sentence. His recent parole hearing had made local headlines, another denial, his drug use in prison working against him. "He looked old," Ethan continued. "Broken. Nothing like I remember." "Prison changes people," Liam said neutrally. "Sometimes it reveals who they truly are." The phone on his desk buzzed, Amelia calling. She'd become head nurse at Memorial Hospital, her career soaring after she cut ties with their mother's toxic influence. She was married now, to a pediatrician she'd met at work, their twin boys the same age as Chloe. "Hey sis," Liam answered, putting her on speaker for Ethan's benefit. "Just checking about Sunday dinner." Amelia's voice filled the office. "Tom's making his famous lasagna." "We'll be there," Liam confirmed. "Chloe's bringing her new boyfriend for you to interrogate." Amelia laughed. "Good. I've got my scary aunt routine ready." Their Sunday family dinners had become tradition. Liam, the kids, Amelia and Tom, Tim and his family. They'd built something new from the ashes of their old life, something genuine and strong. After ending the call, Liam pulled up his email. A message from his prison contact caught his eye. Eleanor Peterson requesting family counseling session. Mandatory review for potential early release next year. Family participation would support her case. Delete. Eleanor had served 10 years of her 20-year sentence. Her attempts at reconciliation were constant, all rejected. The counselors kept trying, not understanding that some bridges weren't meant to be rebuilt. Practice at 6? Ethan stood, gathering his brochures. I'll be there. Liam nodded. He never missed his son's basketball games, just as he attended all of Chloe's tennis matches. His children's lives were his priority, their happiness his redemption. Later that evening, Liam walked through his neighborhood, the sunset painting the sky in deep purples. His house, paid for with Eleanor's seized assets, stood as a symbol of his victory. For bedrooms, a large yard, a pool where the kids and their cousins spent summer afternoons. His phone buzzed with a text from Chloe. Dad, can you pick up Matt at 6:30? Tennis ran late. Matt Anderson, Chloe's boyfriend of 3 months, was a senior on the debate team. Liam had done thorough background checks on the boy and his family before allowing him to date his daughter. Trust, once broken, never returned fully. At home, he found a letter in his mailbox, Arizona postmark. Delilah's handwriting. Like all the others, it would go back unopened. Inside, he checked his security cameras out of habit. Old instincts died hard. The system covered every approach to the house, monitored by a private security firm. No one would ever threaten his family again. His laptop held folders of evidence, insurance against any future attempts at revenge. James's prison drug deals, documented. Eleanor's continued attempts to hide assets, recorded. Delilah's post-release activities, monitored. The monster they'd created never slept. Dinner that night was lively. Matt proved himself worthy of Chloe's interest, handling Liam's subtle interrogation with intelligence and respect. Ethan shared his college deliberations, normal family moments that felt miraculous given their past. Dad, Chloe lingered after dinner, helping with dishes. I got my history test back. A plus, Doc. That's my girl. Liam smiled, genuine pride warming his voice. Following in your old man's footsteps? Maybe, she grinned. Ms. Roberts says I have a gift for analyzing human behavior. Wonder where I got that from? The irony wasn't lost on him. His skill at reading people, at predicting and manipulating their actions, had saved his children from a toxic future. Now those same skills were being used for academic success instead of revenge. After the kids went to bed, Liam sat in his study, reviewing his investment portfolio. Eleanor's forfeited millions had grown substantially under his management. His children would never want for anything, their future secured by the very people who tried to destroy them. His phone buzzed, a message from his prison contact. James Peterson overdosed in his cell. Non-fatal. Requesting family visit. Delete. Another buzz. Amelia, Mom's counselor, called again. Says she's making progress, showing real remorse. No contact, he replied simply. The past belonged in its prison cells, its Arizona diners, its counselors' offices. He'd built something better from its ruins. A third message, from Tim. Custody agreement drafted for documentation. Just in case. Even after 10 years, Liam maintained legal safeguards. Delilah might be reformed, might genuinely regret her actions, but he'd never risk his children's safety on maybes. The next morning, he attended a faculty meeting where the department chair announced his promotion to full professor. His colleagues applauded, unaware of the steel beneath his academic exterior. Drinks to celebrate? A fellow professor suggested. Can't today, Liam declined politely. Promised my daughter I'd watch her tennis practice. Family first. Always. Walking across campus later, he spotted Ethan giving a tour to prospective students. His son's natural charm drew people in, but unlike James's manipulative charisma, Ethan's warmth was genuine. His phone buzzed with a news alert. Former real estate mogul Delilah Peterson denied business license in Arizona. Some doors remained permanently closed. That weekend, the extended family gathered for their usual Sunday dinner. Amelia's twins roughhoused with Tim's daughters, while the adults discussed Ethan's college choices. Yale's history program is prestigious, Tim observed, but Stanford's closer to home. It's his choice, Liam said, watching his son play with his cousins. He's earned the right to decide his own path. The conversation turned to Chloe's tennis scholarship offers, to Amelia's hospital promotion, to Tim's expanding practice. Normal family discussions, precious in their mundanity. Later, after everyone left, Liam found Chloe in the kitchen, making tea. "You're quiet tonight, princess." She turned, her expression thoughtful. "I found some old photos today." "From before. And I barely remember her," Chloe admitted. "Mom, is that terrible?" "No," Liam said gently. "It's better this way." The letters she sends. Sometimes I wonder. Don't. Liam's voice hardened slightly. Some people don't deserve second chances. Chloe nodded, understanding in her eyes. "I know. We built something better, didn't we? Something real." "Yes," Liam pulled his daughter close. "Something they can never touch." The next day brought more letters, from Eleanor's counselor, from Delilah's lawyer, from James's prison chaplain. All seeking reconciliation, all destined for the shredder. The quiet history teacher they tried to destroy had become a fortress, protecting his chosen family with unwavering vigilance. The monster they'd created had built something beautiful from the wreckage of their betrayal. Let them send their letters. Let them plead for forgiveness. Let them rot in their consequences. He had grading to do, tennis matches to attend, college tours to plan, a real family to cherish. The past could keep its prison cells. He had one. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.